We are back for another episode of Leon Live with Sean Wargo from AVIXA. I have had the chance to know Sean for a bunch of years and was there the first time that Sean walked into the room and said, I'm the new guy. I don't know if you remember that. Was that 2020 or 2019?
No, you know what? It was all the way back in 2018, Jeff. So
How
time
dare I
flies.
misstate?
It's
Oh my
COVID
God.
brain. We're all,
is.
you know.
It is complete COVID brain. Sean has a really interesting history in the space and clearly has established his presence, in the commercial integration world. But Sean, for those who have not met you, what's the Sean Wargo story?
Sure. In 200 words or less, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But no, so my title now is Vice President of Market Insights here at AVIXA. I was brought in back in 2017 to really take a look at our overall market intelligence offerings and step it up to the next level. So really look at how we can be world class, telling ultimately the story of Pro AV. How big is it? Where's the areas of growth? What are the trends shaping us, driving us, impacting us, challenging us, all that sort of stuff. But background, I worked at Consumer Technology Association for a while doing the same thing. Did some consulting, as all researchers do at some point, just to scratch that itch.
Yep.
I did it in 2009, which, as those of you who know 2009, not a great year to be out as a consultant. But
some people might say that's like 2021 to 2024.
Right. Very true. I'm just a little older, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Which makes you wiser, right?
I like to say so, but my
Yeah.
kids challenge that all the time. So
They do.
yeah.
I have kids and they always, I always tell them I'm the smartest guy you know.
Yeah.
You were the
Works for a while.
smartest guy we knew.
That's right. Yeah. And now now they are. Yes.
Now they are.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in Barcelona at ISE. We're having dinner and we're kind of comparing notes, and I come to learn that you are a audiophile and that you have a real passion for all things, in your home, in particular, style, design, aesthetic. And I was really intrigued with it because of all of the things we've always talked about, that's never been one of them. But
Right.
what tell us a little bit about that side of you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I blame my dad, right? I think most of us have some sort of background, especially those of us that work at AVIXA, either frustrated former artists, musicians, live events people, you name it. But so for me, it was growing up in Dallas, Fort Worth with my dad. He was in the Air Force at the time, but he was a professional, a sort of semi-pro. He'd go around and do recordings of live events that were happening, like church functions, performances, whatnot. So I'd tag along with him, I guess, as a roadie of sorts. We'd set up the microphone arrays. He had
Nice.
some old Nakamichi wall-based mics that he built these sound barriers for. We'd watch the levels together. We'd do the tests.
Wow.
So yeah, he was full into it, and then of course had a lot of high-end equipment at home, crown amps, and Yamaha speakers, these floor speakers that were just gigantic, especially for me as a kid. Similar to some of the ones you have, like in the background.
Yeah, I was going to say, does any of
edges.
this look familiar to you?
Yeah, the farthest edges, those are about the size of the old Yamahas my dad had. So listeners probably would know the model number, I'm sure, by my reference. But anyway, that kind of shaped my interest in technology and in audio in general. I also do a lot of musical stuff on the side, learning bass guitar currently, played around with keyboards, done some, simple recording stuff, but just love audio. Have considered going back and becoming an engineer, honestly, just because, why not, right? But yeah, that's really shaped a lot of my interests. But yeah, we'll see whether that actually plays itself out. So I built a theater here at the house. Got some nice Polk floor speakers and designed it in all Lord of the Rings theme. So design, aesthetic, and kind of look and feel was important to me for sure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. I'm going to show you. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up here because I think it's absolutely relevant. You know what? I'm going to have to find it in another place because I'm not finding it. I'll bring it up a little bit later.
Okay.
But we have sculptures everywhere of this. Like we have walls of just speakers that we've put together in an artistic way to pay homage, to the things of the past. And I think that each of us in this industry at some point in time may have come through something like that, where we've developed our passion for the craft and for the art. Aesthetic and aesthetic beauty is was a thing then. It's a thing now. And when we were having that chat in Barcelona, we talked about the movement of resimercial. It's
Mhm.
the residential sensibilities in the commercial spaces, and that's something that's becoming more and more pronounced. We certainly see it over here at Leon, but I was also elated to hear that you're seeing it, and it's far more pronounced than we might have realized.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to use a well-trodden example at this point that we're all kind of hearing about, and that's the sphere, right? So while we're talking kind of a little far away from, say, a residential installation, or even, gosh, the typical, say, home theater entertainment experience, what we're looking at is kind of that pinnacle of the art meets science meets tech of our industry. It's what our industry represents about creating ultimately exceptional experiences. And that's done
Yeah.
components at a time. It's looking at spatial layout. It's thinking about the content that you're going to be displaying, portraying, streaming to that installation. So all of that comes into play, right? As we think about this aesthetic aspect. So it's in the home, but you could say it's all the way up at the sphere, and it's even down in the middle levels of lobbies, conference and collaboration spaces, F&B spaces. I mean, you name it. Each one of those can be a palette for kind of using that artistic approach to technology. We like to say it at AVIXA that Pro AV really is the marriage of three things: it's
Hmm.
space, it's technology, and it's content together that creates the exceptional experience. So a design component is in all of those because it's how you're figuring out how to map and make that all work together. So I think it's a key dimension, and I think it's hope for our industry too. I'd say this has always been there. This is not a new phenomenon. We've always known that design was a part of what integrator installers are bringing to the table. It's their particular artistic view, expression, creative element that they're bringing into a solution area. That's their margin. It's their value. It's what they're providing. But I think as we are now and securely in what is an experience economy, so much of what we're doing day to day outside the home, perhaps accelerated by, amplified by the pandemic, even, is about creating those exceptional experiences. We look for more, better all the time, right? Just look at conference tickets, how much they cost, how much people have gone back to live events, live performance. Those are a part of it, and so I think it's part of the DNA now. It's part
Yeah.
of what's being built into our market, and helps us compete against the notion of commoditization, which I know is a worry for a lot
Yeah.
of companies.
It's so it's funny you say Sphere. Sphere is just amazing. Can't wait to go see it. I still have not been in person, so Infocom is going to be a place that I get to experience in person the first time.
Hmm.
I've seen it. I've been there while it's been constructed, but not inside. Mike Gordon and the crew at Fish, is sort of like one of the recent bands that are highlighted. We did some work with Mike Gordon and
Mm,
had a chance to get to know him, like on the philosophical level.
nice.
And this is a guy that is all about style and design in his home. I mean, he is like right down to the cypress wood selection. It's color, it's softness, it's and then clearly the sound and the vibe of his band, and I think that we got to remember that no matter what background we come from and what space we work in, so many of us have sort of a warmth, a feeling of creativity that comes from being in a well-designed space. And we identify with our music. What's your favorite band? It's like a reflection of you, just as the same way that our space is or isn't a reflection of us. And
Yes,
I think there's an imaginative element to it, which is driving creativity. And then there's this other element, which is, boy, this is not me. And companies are struggling trying to figure out what's the difference between the two. You know,
definitely. Yeah, and I think some of that goes back to watching this play out in retail space. One of my past jobs was to help with a retail services company. We had data coming in from store visits looking at break fix, like is the demo working for Beats headphones, Bose headphones? Is the store laid out effectively to convey brand? And so one of the notions that I think has gained traction in the marketplace is technology utilization, spatial configuration, all of that as a part of a brand statement. So like you just mentioned, with fish, they're wanting a certain light, sound, visual sort of presence and
Yeah.
combination that reflects that brand. Well, it's no different for a corporation. Apple, had led the charge with this, with the black white phenomenon, right back with the iPod days.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's statement of brand through technology use that I think is a part also what we're talking about. That opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Sean, I'd be curious to just get your take on state of the world right now and the importance of design. What are you seeing from a prioritization standpoint? In the AV community, frequently I hear oh my gosh, our project got trumped because they bought a $20,000 table, or they invested in $100,000, beautiful cabinet, and there was nothing left for what I was trying to do. Um, I think in our industry we're missing it when that's the way we think about it. Are you seeing like new strategies, new ways to engage? And does data suggest that there's actually a coming together of sorts?
Yeah, there's clearly data that shows both extremes of this phenomenon. So we kind of think of a continuum here between, let's say, a standardized, scalable approach and a full custom, large value proposition, artistic, creative, designed, etc. And obviously, the budget scale can be different in a sense, or the receptivity to how the service element kind of plays in at a the lower end of this. We certainly see data around, as we come out of the pandemic. One of the things the marketplace was looking for was kind of standardized approaches to scalable rollout of video conferencing solutions across their many meeting spaces, both in terms of size and scope and shape and kind of technology within that space. And we've seen more and more of that happen. That's allowing for plug play, replicability, manageability, bring your own device, all that sort of stuff. But that doesn't mean, what I challenge strongly is, there's certainly plenty of data that also shows there's the other end of the opportunity, where you're talking to the CEO. They want a very specific brand experience. They want a certain level of reliability, and that's kind of their flagship that they want rolled out in headquarters, and then maybe in other facilities throughout. So there's still the continuum of opportunity. I
Yeah.
I certainly give in to or recognize, affirm the notion that, yeah, it's hard to have those budget conversations. But as we've said, age old for our industry, right, is the earlier that an integrator is plugged into the process and part of the conversation, the more you have the chance to kind of talk through how it makes a difference. And accepting sometimes it's going to fall on deaf ears,
Yeah.
and maybe that's not your right client. That in the end, that's
To
the
be
reality.
to be relevant, you have to be relevant. The
Yeah,
intention is the intention.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
and I think we have incredible perspective in the AV world. Like you said, it's the world of the integrated experience. We hold the keys, to this car,
Right.
and we can show how to navigate it. And Sphere is the ultimate sort of representation of it, as is Mike Gordon's living room. And I think that there's just these beautiful intersections in between. All right, this has been awesome. Infocom
Yep.
2024. What's got you excited? What are you going to be looking for at Infocom 24?
Yeah, we've covered the obvious. Certainly, the Tuesday event at the Sphere is going to be fantastic. I'm like you, Jeff. I haven't seen it yet in person. I had booked some tickets just to go and see it myself, assuming, or
Yeah.
making plans in case I wasn't able to get in otherwise. But Tuesday
Yeah.
is looking to be, just in general, a great day. We've got tech tours going on at University of Nevada. You've got sessions. I'm doing a market intelligence luncheon where we cover sort of state of the industry.
Yes.
Our economist Peter, our new senior industry analyst Mike, and I will be sharing stage for that. check that
Yeah.
out. That's a good way to
Hey, can
orient.
I just say hats off? I mean, 2018,
Sure.
2023, or 2024. It's amazing. It's amazing what you and the team have accomplished. It's
Well,
remarkable.
thank
Yeah.
you. I mean, it's a labor of love, as is integration, right? You
Yeah.
can't if you don't love it, don't do it, right? To some extent.
That's
So
true.
I
Yes.
love data, and love the storytelling aspect, and that's really what this is all about. So we've done a lot to try to provide different vehicles for that. This luncheon at Infocom is another example, but I'm going to be trying to hit a lot of sessions because there's many topics that I want to kind of hear more about, like AI implementation. How's it being used? Where's it being used? Where are we with we've been writing ourselves about the kind of post-COVID norms and
Yeah.
office utilization, more on this whole experiential aspect,
Yeah.
immersive audio, where, boy, there's a lot of good stuff to see
Yeah.
that's related. So
And I'm sure right at the top of your and everybody else's list are my two education tracks.
100%,
I'm
100%.
doing I'm doing one education track on the intersection of art in boardrooms and high impact spaces. So
Nice.
it is an artful design conversation, and that's really tailored to to a CTS holder or anyone in our industry that wants to have a more artistic feel of how a designer is thinking about space. And then the second topic I'm hitting is the multi-camera boardroom phenomena.
Yeah,
So
I
I
saw
am
that.
all about this. These boardrooms are studios, and multi-camera gives them an ability to be better than just beautiful spaces. They are full-blown studios.
100%. Yeah, that's one of my favorite trends that I'm seeing emerge too is smart camera utilization, multi-camera for better isolation of speaker, all that kind of stuff for an even better, more equitable meeting experience for those in office versus remote. Really cool stuff. Even embedded in, say, central
Yeah.
collaboration hubs on the table that utilize multi-mic, multi-camera. I think that's the future for sure, and that
Oh
should
yeah.
be great news for our industry. Who's
Okay,
like,
and I'm gonna
yeah,
show you something as well. This
oh
is sort
yeah,
of my object of the day. Uh, Check this guy out.
oh my gosh, nice.
This is an original spy cam.
Yeah,
But the irony is the optics are larger than my webcam.
uh-huh,
And this
same.
used to go inside of a briefcase, so you can put it down on the table. You could do your old, it's got
Yep.
its little flicker on it. Isn't that
Yeah,
crazy?
that is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little reminder. This thing's 19, I think it's 1947 special.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
dropped it back
Right.
there. Sean, it's always a pleasure. Great talking to you. I look forward to seeing you live at Infocom. Thanks for taking a few minutes with us today.
Likewise, man. I'll see you soon.
Awesome. If you can hang for just a second.